This deal has been weeks in the making. The final price tag a little bit smaller than what was first reported. What about this deal excites you the most?
Well, you know, it's funny thinking about it. Even though music is really what got Apple on the trajectory that it's taken, that has gotten it to this extraordinary scale and success, beginning with the iPod, they have never done headphones well, which is very interesting. In fact, they even have a policy at their stores that if you go in and you have a broken headphone, they just replace it for free, as my wife pointed out, because they know the headphones are so bad. So ironically, that's not being discussed too much about this deal. They need better headphones, and they also need a broader market positioning among young people who I think many of them perceive Apple as sort of an old person's product, albeit a high-quality one. So I think it's probably a smart move to broaden their market share, to get into an area that was critical for a heavily music-oriented company, bring in some good intellectual DNA in Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine, and also it's chump change for them because they got $150 billion in cash.
Yeah, and they're only laying out $2.6 billion in cash for this deal. So you mentioned that they're buying hardware, they're buying cool. What about the fact that this is a talent play? As you mentioned, the intellectual DNA of Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre. What can that mean for Apple in the next 6 months?
You know, I was just in sort of thinking about getting on to talk to you. I was reading about Jimmy Iovine and all the records he's produced, you know, like Bruce Springsteen's first album, you know, one of the Pretenders' great albums, that amazing, you know, classic by Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. You know, the guy has an incredible sense of what people want. It's, you know, I don't think he's a Steve Jobs, but I think, you know, from an intuition point of view, he is somebody who gets how people think, and he can make classic products. He's going full-time to Apple. He is a music producer and a music industry executive, but I think somebody like that could really add a lot to the culture of Apple.
You know, David, I understand.
And Dr. Dre, you know, is also a great artist who himself, you know, he's sort of not as clearly going full-time from what I've been reading, but I'm sure he'll add a lot as well.
David, I understand what Apple is getting. You've made that pretty clear. But I think about the artists, where they're going to be making 1/5, 1/6, 1/7 of the amount of money from streaming revenues that they would have gotten from downloads. So is that really sustainable long-term from the point of view of the artists?
Well, that's a debated question right now. Now you're getting into the Beats music service, which is a part of this we haven't yet mentioned in this conversation. But, you know, I do think it has to be because, frankly, this is the way we're all getting our music, and that's not going back. We're not going back to buying CDs. If we can't figure out a way for the artists to make money with streaming and online services like Spotify, you know, the music industry is doomed. And so I don't think it's going to be doomed. I think music's too big a part of culture for that to happen. Prices might go up. That would probably be great for a company like Apple that's now going to own an important streaming service in addition to all its other music services. I don't think we're going to keep buying, you know, songs by the song on iTunes.
David, the strength of the Facebook effect was your ability to look forward to where Facebook would go. I remember the first time I ever heard stereo crystal clear. It was a miracle when stereo came in. Reach forward. Where will this transaction be in 5 years?
Well, it's a great way to ask the question, Tom, because I think quality of music is what's going to be affected by this and a number of other trends in the industry right now. You know, we've gotten used to getting our music with tremendous convenience, but in the process, we've sacrificed the quality of the audio. And someone like you who's so into music, I'm sure has been acutely and painfully aware of that. And so have I. I think the chances are good that this will lead Apple to concentrate more on the quality. As bandwidth goes up in wireless, it'll help it happen even faster.